Welcome again to one of our videos which complements our Facebook Live events. This one we're going to talk about travel and the impact to our lives. Okay, so I have mentioned who I am. I am Rick Howard. I am the CEO of the organization Dreams in Motion. I am also a native of Ventura, California. I have worked as a senior project manager and in leadership positions for about, over 30 years. I've traveled to about 36 different countries and I am bilingual. I've traveled to a fair part of the world, so there are a lot of countries left to visit, but I've traveled to Central America and different parts of Asia, a few parts of Africa, and also Europe. And of course, I also lived in Australia when I was in high school. And you can't forget to mention, here in the United States, I've traveled around our country quite a bit. So I'll start with Australia. I went there when I was in high school as an exchange student in the fifth form, which is basically halfway between a junior and my senior year. And I would say that that was the beginning of my travel experience and had the opportunity to really see a lot of different things, made some lifelong friendships. It's a very interesting country, a lot of diversified wildlife, and actually a very empty country in terms of population. A lot of land, not so many people. But it's a place I really enjoyed, and as I said, made a lot of good friends there.
Dre, do it. You guys do it. Do it. What are you guys doing? Oh, you know what? Now you broke my camera. Oh, there you go. Nikoi. Yo. Okay, so we're walking up a ladder towards the Great Wall. Sam and Christy. Like they say in China, Zolu, Zolu, Zolu. Walk, 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 walk. Wei Shimabu. Wei Shimabu, Zolu, Zolu, Zolu.
Okay, so let's talk about Asia. I've actually been to China, Thailand, Japan, Philippines, Singapore, Malaysia, and a few other countries. And it's actually quite an interesting part of the world to visit. One of the things I really enjoyed about Asia is the diversity between the different countries there. You know, the food is very diversified. In some countries, of course, Japan, you may get a lot of seafood, sashimi or sushi. In China, as an example, you have a lot of different kinds of food, noodles. You have a lot of spicy foods in certain part of the country. So, you know, if you travel around these different countries, you'll find that there's quite a diversity of different types of food. And who's going to complain about some good food, right? Okay, the other thing about these countries that is a challenge, though, is the language, the communication. So what I found in traveling to these countries is that in many places, unless you know the local language, you're going to have some communication challenges. Of course, I do believe that body language can get you a long ways. And what I try to do before I visit these countries is to learn some of the basic phrases or words. I was able to, in China, I was able to gain a pretty good proficiency in Mandarin Chinese. So I was able to actually communicate fairly well with people there. The other point is that there's a lot of natural diversity. If you go to some parts of China in the north, it's quite different than the south. Of course, Thailand has its own unique environment, Japan as well. So, I think overall, Asian countries are very interesting to visit and a great place to just check things out. Okay, Europe. Well, there's a lot to say about Europe. Castles, forest, rivers, cities, countryside. Really, Europe, between Eastern Europe and Western Europe, has so much diversity as well. Whether you're in the northern part of Europe, like when I went to Sweden and Denmark, or maybe you're in the southern part of Europe or the eastern part of Europe, each region has its own identity. And it's actually really fascinating. I've gone to Italy and France and Sweden, Denmark, Romania, and some other countries there. And every time I went there, what I found is that there's a good mixture of traditional and modern life. There's a lot of history, of course, and there is a strong tradition in terms of the cultural tradition in these countries. So it's a fascinating place. Again, great food and friendly people, and I always enjoyed myself when I was in Europe. Okay, so the last region I'm going to talk about is Africa and the Middle East. So I've been to Kenya and Tunisia, Oman, and some others. Let me briefly talk about Kenya. I wasn't there for a long time, but I was there long enough to meet some of the local people. And what I found in that country, again, people were very hospitable, very friendly, a very unique culture, and again, some great food. I really love the food there as well. You'll see that I have a trend that I like the food in pretty much every country I've gone to. Okay, so again, it has a lot of natural beauty in Kenya, the national parks there. And but one of the best resources again are the people. Now I'm going to talk about Tunisia because that's the last place I've made a trip to other than France and Italy. So when I went to Tunisia, I had different objectives in going there. We had been invited to visit the embassy the U.S. Embassy for a 4th of July event for our organization. It was also the first country that we opened a facility in, Dreams of Motion facility that we have there. So I wanted to meet our team. And I also wanted to learn more about the Arab culture. It's a culture I don't know as much about as I do other cultures, so I was curious to learn more about the culture. So, all in all, it's an area that I really enjoyed visiting. The food is excellent, and it was a place that I really look forward to going back to see again. Again, a lot of diversity. In the north, you have greener areas, mountains. The south, more desert. The people though were really the best part of it. Going to people's homes, having some traditional meals, spending time getting to know people. It was really a great experience, and again, I have very fond memories of my time there. Okay, so in closing, I would like to briefly touch on why traveling is so important. First, it opens your mind. It gives you an idea in terms of empathy, empathizing for other people. We often grow up in an environment where there's some maybe bias or stereotyping. And, really traveling gives you an opportunity to meet people and see them for who they are, okay, as people. It also teaches you, I think, to respect people that are different from ourselves, that maybe practice a different religion or look different. So I think in terms of going places, it also teaches us to respect other people. It can also give us an opportunity to appreciate our own culture. When we have the opportunity to see maybe, people living in not so great conditions, Maybe we have more of an appreciation for our own life. Okay? And finally, it really teaches you about yourself and helps you to grow as a person. I think all aspects of your life, whether it be intellectually speaking, emotionally speaking, physically speaking, it teaches you about yourself. So in closing, I've written something here. To know yourself, travel. To know others, travel. You will find that the most important things in life we share in common with each other. Thank you.